Hello and welcome to another video, this time with an update to my ARCHMAGE build guide for Enshrouded, specifically for the 7th update. A lot was rebalanced, a lot was added, and mages are finally busted again, burning, freezing and electrocuting everything that is before you. And to make matters even better, we are nearly immortal. Well, kind of. When we suspect death is approaching, we can revive ourselves through the use of clever game mechanics. Well, we are still soft and squishy, but the game's new mechanics and less aggressive enemies make it a joy to play regardless. The new enemy designs encountered in the new zone are great. We are truly powerful now with a ton of options at our disposal to deal with foes, no matter what is before us. Now before we move on, thank you King Games for sponsoring this video and giving me the opportunity to play the update before the official release. It is truly a great experience and a huge improvement to the game. If you have the game already, I highly recommend you to give the game a shot again. And for those that have not bought it yet, give it a go. It's well worth your time and money. Now back to the mage. We got 2 new spells, a shield to prepare before battles and a new summon to aid us with a lot of damage. We also get 4 new eternal spells, upgraded versions for Fireball and Ice Bolt, as well as Channel Lightning and the Healing Beam. However, the Healing Beam cannot be used on yourself, so you need to use this one in group play. If you're just starting out, we are also getting a beginner spell, the Firebolt, which is a craftable that is accessible very early on. And all in all, we can also use our regular healing spell. So we have a very large toolkit at our disposal for this update. Abusing elemental weaknesses, chain stunning enemies, blasting whole rooms with AoE explosions, and sniping enemies from very far away with the fire or ice projectiles available to us. Now you might think you're starved on mana now, but that's also far from the truth. The rebalancing for mana regen was not as harsh on you as expected. While going through the game, I barely had to use mana potions, so I am expecting a slight nerf for the full release. But there's a ton of mana regen on the gear, specifically on your boots, on your gloves, on your rings, and even on your shield. You can also now get a new consumable dish for even more mana regen. We basically never run out of juice to throw at enemies now. Now with that said, let's have a look at the stats, skill tree, gear and how to obtain the new spells. As for stats, we grab as much spirit and int as possible, followed by constitution and a bit of endurance. Spirit is important for a bigger mana pool so we don't run out of mana while casting spells. Int is a damage multiplier, constitution gives us health and endurance provides us with stamina, which is used quite a lot in this update while swimming, running or gliding. There has been a change to stats, however. Food and gear do not provide any bonus to stats anymore. Those are now only available through upgrading the flame and picking them up in the skill tree. Now we're going to start with a quick look at our weapons. We will be using any staff that you can find with the highest level possible. Now this one, as you can see, does not have any mana leech on hit like this one. During your early game, you can use, and specifically I highly recommend using a staff like this, with mana leech, but later on with the better gear you don't need this one anymore and you just specialize in mana regen through other means and with as much crit strike chance and damage as possible. For the gem in this one, I highly recommend you to use the Gem of Currents. It's a new gem accessible in the game while we are wet or soaked, which is obtained through just jumping into water. We will be able to apply soak to enemies for 9 seconds and then we deal a ton of additional shock damage. Currently in the early game, I have been using a Gem of Bloodlust. I also didn't expect this gem to work specifically when I do not have the wet or soak condition. So if I hit an enemy with a gem slotted in this wand, with this specific wand, I apply soaked and wet anyway. So it's exceedingly powerful. Another great one is Gem of Acrobatics. So Gem of Acrobatics looks like this. When we jump, we shoot out those shuriken projectiles. Those are really good versus flying enemies. There are, however, not this many flying enemies in the game currently, especially since they, well, thankfully, dialed it down in this update. So there is mostly just ground enemies and a few ranged enemies. So for this purpose, I highly recommend you just use the Gem of Currents in every single wand and your staff. It can be easily farmed by just killing elite enemies. For example, here, if you jump from the Ancient Spire to this location, right to the Drakdal Temple, you can farm this enemy for those gems. You can get those regularly through just playing the game, so it's not that important. It adds, however, quite a lot of damage. Now, as for what type of wand we want one with multi-shot projectiles. Some wands, like this one, the Ancient Drag wand, has the perk multi-shot. It fires multiple projectiles at reduced damage. This one doesn't have this. So it only fires one projectile. With our perk, sometimes it fires two projectiles. Well, the chance is relatively low, so we don't fire. But this one, as you can see, fires 3 projectiles. All of those can crit. All of those can apply the shock. All of those can apply the additional damage. So it's vastly better to use a 3-hit wand like this one, or like the Blizzard wand I have here with additional projectiles. This one fired just 4. Then a single shot projectile wand like this one. Now you will see I have only a few wands available to me and a few gear pieces. The game changed quite a lot regarding this one. Enemies now can drop those wands at high quality. However, you can also find a lot of them in chests. I have marked a few around the map. I will publish a video regarding a good route of farming those, because you cannot just log out of the server, log back in, and the chest respawns. You have to actually wait a set amount of time. So here, right here, next to this island, you will find something sticking out of the water. We are now in the spire, top of the spire, right in the middle of the zone. This is next to Gold Rock Saddle, and I marked this one on the map right here. You can then glide down to this specific spot, and you will find a boat sunk beneath the water. In this boat, you will find a golden chest, and this golden chest has a high chance to drop you really good wands. It's relatively easy to get to the spot. You'll see it's currently looted because I looted it just now. And there is a ton of additional spots in this map. If you want to see more spots to farm, please check out the other video. I don't want to spoil you the whole experience of finding loot yourself, but if you want to, check out the video. Next up, let's check out the armor we are currently wearing. We are using the Tidecollar's headpiece, Tidecollar's tunic, gloves, as well as pants and shoes. We use the full set. It provides us with a ton of physical damage reduction and magical damage reduction. Since the chest is only providing us with health and mana, we could potentially swap it out for the golden bulwark chest plate. This one provides us with health and health regeneration, but it provides us with a lot more physical armor reduction instead of magical armor. This will balance our stats a little bit more, and we will have 350 armor instead of just 250. This will make it much more manageable to fight versus specific enemies. A lot of enemies hit very, very hard. However, with our health pool of 1170, we can take a hit from every single enemy without getting one shot currently. For our prismatic ward, we are using the best one we can find. This one can be crafted, gives you ice resistance and shock resistance, as well as mana regeneration when you use it. So that's good. And that's about it. I have not found any alternative gear pieces, so we are stuck with this one single set. The materials for the set can be found relatively easily. There's capybara bristles, blue fabric, aquamarine dust, and so on and so forth. All of those set pieces can be, well, found through exploring. Gold dust is currently bugged for me, so I cannot produce it. Same with ivory dust and the aquamarine dust. The capybara bristles, as well as the reptile leather, can be very easily found. For the reptiles, there is a spot, Snapjaw Ruins, right here. Right when you get to the zone, right here, you will find 2 Snapjaws. You can farm those for the leather and then just dry it on a drying rack. And for the capybara bristles, you can find them here, capybara oases. You can farm them either through killing the capybaras, which I do not want you to do. You can tame them, or you can just follow the path up here to the capybara hunting camp, and you will find some not so fortunate capybaras that you can loot, and you will find enough bristles for your armor. As for the dye, for the blue fabric, just follow the quest lines you will find in the new zone, and you will unlock the blue fabric relatively easily. As for the cursed shroud sack, those can be found in the shroud by killing enemies, so after a while you will find them. I have found in my whole adventure for 25 hours, currently only 5, so they're quite rare. Instead of those gloves, which provide you with staff damage and damage against magical enemies, you can also use the Thaumaturg set, which is a little bit worse from the last zone, previous zone. Those are the maths for this one. It is not a huge decrease in damage. So yeah, for the rings, we have a few options here. We are going to start with a Ring of Mana 2 times, mana regeneration and mana. The mana regeneration is important for us, so we want to rock 2 of those. throughout the whole game. So just Ring of Mana the whole time. Later on, you will be finding Ring of Frost with 12 mana regen, increased ice damage, ice resistance, and frost resistance. We want to use this one for the ice zone. But later on, you can also find the Ring of Thunder Snow, mana regen, shock damage, increased shock resistance, and wet duration reduction. We don't want to use 2 of those because the wet duration we want to apply to us. If we are not wet, we cannot apply this one through the gem to the enemies if they fix the bug. So you want to actually only use one of those. Then there is also the Ring of Ancient. As you remember previously, this one provided you with 1 to every stat. However, since we cannot gain stats on our rings anymore or on consumables, this one now provides you with health regeneration, mana regeneration, and a little bit of damage. So it's a slight improvement to your damage. It provides you basically with just 1 additional extra intelligence through magic damage, and it provides you with some mana regeneration as well as stamina regeneration. I, however, do not like it currently. It is also RNG to find. So the Ring of Thunder Snow and the Ring of Frost are just better if you have them in your inventory. You're going to use either lightning damage, or in this case shock damage, or frost damage throughout the basically whole expansion, except for when you move on to the Shroud, then you will want to fire your fireballs. Now, welcome to my farm. We are currently on our playground. I want to showcase you the spells. First up, we will be looking at the first one we get, the new spell, Firebolt. It's just whoop, but with your staff, so it has much more range, as you can see. You can hit targets much further away, and then I highly recommend you to have this one in your inventory when you go exploring and want to hit a switch. Whoop, you can use this one to just target the switch without destroying all objectives around it with a Fireball or Ice Bolt. For Fireball and Ice Bolt, those two, they look basically the same, except this one has a huge radius now on the second stage. And this one leaves a frozen ground on enemies. And this ground chills enemies for quite a lot. So I highly recommend you using this one against the raiders. You can find them on this side, roughly here. Against the new enemies in this zone, that's the ice zone, you will be finding silver. You can grind this one to silver dust, and then you can craft the Eternal Chain Lightning. Shoots out 1 chain lightning on enemies. This one deals roughly the same damage as a fireball with just less AoE. You'll be using this one quite frequently when you get to the zone. Later on, or rather actually very early on, you can grab this spell, the Channel Lightning spell. You hold this one like this and you zap enemies. It takes quite a while to kill enemies like this, but since you're proccing multiple hits of a spell, those can crit, and if they crit, they stun enemies through a very, very nice perk you can pick up here, which is called Terror. 4-second stun on a critical strike with a spell. Really, really potent, and allows you to farm enemies quite efficiently, especially those with a weakness to lightning damage. For your healing spell, you're going to use Eternal Channel Heal. Boop, boop, boop. Heals you for quite a lot. And you can also gain a new spell, the Eternal Heal Beam. Looks like this, but this one only heals targets that are not you. You cannot heal yourself with this one. For the new non-eternal spells, you have Magic Shield. Looks like this. Provides you with a bubble like this. So when we go to our character status details, we now have a Magic Shield. Protects against melee damage, 350 shield strength. So when an enemy tries to hit you, you are reshielded. This is a lot of damage mitigation, but I do not like to use it. It is very small, so it is nice for stray hits, but not something you want to use in combat, especially with the cast time of 4 seconds. Takes a while. For the Shock Wisp, this one I highly recommend you to use. Summons a small Shock Wisp that zaps enemies automatically. You don't have to target enemies. It stays on the battlefield for quite a while. However, to craft this one, you will require a specific item called the Shock Fin. So you will have to fish, sadly, for the spell. You can then craft the Electric Nerf, and with the Electric Nerf, you can craft the spell, which requires Cursed Shroud Sack, Shroud Sludge, Iron Dust, and Electric Nerf. If you're lucky, you can grab the spell relatively early. However, it took me a while to get the Electric Nerf because you need to, well, fish quite a lot. There's one fishing spot next to the old Captain's Rest right here, and another one right here next to my home too. You'll find fish jumping all around the place, and you will require an excellent fishing rod for this one, as well as frog bait or epic fishing bait. Now, fishing in this game will require a little bit of a different approach. I don't like it. I'll be honest. I am not the fisher. However, the game offers you in the difficulty settings down below here the possibility to set your fishing difficulty for the world. You have to do this outside the game screen, so you have to log out, then change this one in the difficulty setting of the world, and then you have it. For very easy, this one skips all the mini games. So basically you just fish, get the rewards, done. I highly recommend you to use this one. Then you don't also need a specific perk I have in my skill tree, which is the Fisherman's Resolve. So you can take out 5 points and distribute them differently. I have it on here because, well, I maxed on this character and I liked to, well, not reduce the difficulty first. But the regular difficulty makes it nearly impossible to get the epic fishes, so I had to pick this. Now, on how to obtain those spells, the new Eternal ones. Now, in the quest lines from Balthazar, A Glimpse of Eternity, you will be able to grab those spells by exploring the hidden tombs. You have to actually loot them in the specific locations. If you don't want to get spoiled and find them yourselves, please skip this section. I'll give you a few seconds. The first location is found here, the hidden tomb. Right underneath this one, you have to dig a little bit. The second location for the fireball spell is located right here. You will see 4 points right here. Here's the fireball spell. The next location for the Eternal Beam is located right here underneath this cavern. That's next to Gold Rock Saddle. And the last two are relatively hard to find when looking at the description of the quest. The first one is not at the Ancient Passage, but all the way up here. You can glide across this shroud because before upgrading the flame, you won't be able to walk across this one. You can fly above it and then get to this specific location here. Here you can enter the dungeon. And then you come out on this side and there is a grave where you dig up the lightning spell. Really, really hard to get if you don't have it yet, or the fireball. But there is a light exploit. You can walk around this side and then glide across this chasm and just dig out the grave without going through the whole dungeon. So basically you can get this spell without any combat. And the last one is all the way here. Here is another grave. You will have to get through this one by consuming quite a lot of fish and then get diving equipment. You can find swim fins. Those provide you with 30% swim speed. You can get maximum oxygen through a variety of different ways like fish soup. You have to fish quite a lot in this game. You can also grill the shock fins and so on, and they provide you with actually 25% maximum oxygen. So really 25 oxygen, not percent. So those are relatively good. As for the clever game mechanics, if you see an enemy is going to kill you or you're going to die and cannot heal it, you can use the Eternal Channel heal like this and then run around. And if you die while the last blob hits you, it will revive you. So you can actually prevent damage from killing you, and well, you still lose all your comfort and you still lose your food buffs, but you are revived and don't have to run back to this specific section. The second one is you can jump around like this and hold your casting or charging button, and it will charge your spell while moving around. Gives you quite a lot of mobility, especially when you choose your spells and you have to think a little bit more or whatever you like. But afterwards you can shoot this one every time you move, so you don't stand around stationary. The AoE of those spells is actually quite amazing, so you can hit enemies for quite a lot of damage despite them not being inside the center of the impact. So also keep that in mind. Now let's have a look at the skill tree progression. For those of you that are progressing through the game from the Ice update, here is the tree. You pick up Trickster, then Wizard. Quite a lot here. You pick up every single Spirit and Intelligence node except those two. Spirit here, Intelligence here, because this is reviving. Then we pick up the Battle Mage, the Tank, and don't forget to pick up Double Jump, Wanderlust, all the way here to Desert Stomach for another food slot. For those of you that want to progress the game, we are going to start for the Staff with Quick Charge, then for Traversal, Double Jump, really important, and Updraft. Also really important. So you pick up those three and then go for Miner, go for Mason, Quality Gear. You can pick up Fisherman's Resolve. I don't recommend it. You can just lower the difficulty. But for those of you that want to progress through the normal means, Fisher's Resolve is a necessity. Afterwards, we want to pick up Terror for the crit stun. We pick up Water Aura, Blink, then the Wand Tree, Pick up Mass Destruction, Chain Hit, Frost, all the shebang. Pick up Wanderlust, good Metabolism, Sweet Tooth, and Desert at the end. Wanderlust can be picked up earlier to decrease the stamina cost of sprinting on dirt roads. However, don't forget to upgrade your grip so you get a longer rested buff. Then you don't actually need all that much stamina reduction here. Now, lastly, let's have a look at consumables. The best food for mages is, of course, the mushroom dishes. So there is a mushroom line, 12 magic damage, then 15, then 18, and at the end, 21. However, I prefer the yellow glow soup instead of the alk salad. This one provides with mana regeneration. Additionally, this one only with 20 additional mana and 3 additional magic damage. So I feel like this one is just more powerful when you use it. Then, to increase your survivability, we use a meat wrap for additional magic damage and health. But in the new update, I highly recommend you to just grab the tomato soup for basically everything, or a grilled fish, doesn't matter. The additional oxygen is necessary for a lot of puzzles, so you have to actually use the newly provided food. That's why we are going for a third food slot, because we are going to use additional damage, like for example, Glimmer Gentian Tea, or we want the Color Lunar Soup for additional mana regeneration, or the Spice Tea for additional mana regeneration, especially early on, especially with the Glow Soup, especially with the Mushroom Omelette. And later on, we can extend this one to Candied Ginger. This one provides with 48 mana regeneration for 9 minutes. So basically an immense amount of mana regeneration for basically free. That's like your boot slot and both your ring slots combined on just one consumable. Really, really strong and potent. For your potions, we want to always have superior health potions or any potion that clears your whole health bar in one go. You want to have them in reserve, so always make sure to craft those. Same for mana potions. I don't use mana potions all too much, but versus specific enemies, like for example, some bosses, you are actually using them for like 1 or 2 times, so you can burst down enemies faster. For the health potions, have them on your bar, so when you switch to your health potion, you can use them immediately, so I have them next to my staff on the cast bar. You can also use health potion when you're drowning, so I will show you real quick. When we jump down to the water, into the water, and wait for 30 seconds, so we are rapidly losing health. Our health bar is still ticking, so water aura kicks in. But you can use a health potion underwater to heal back to full. So you can scam your way through, well, diving. And once we touch the surface, we regenerate immediately all of our oxygen and we start regenerating health. Now, this sums up the video. If you liked what you saw, please leave a comment, leave a like, leave a subscription if you have not already. And see you next time with another Enshrouded video. So, bye.